I'm Candice Yeager. I'm sitting here with William Martino today, and we are going to do a question and answer session.
A little interview, a little dialogue back and forth.
Yeah, so we're going to try to figure out what's going on in that head of his, in that soul of his.
Good luck, good luck.
And see if we can get some enlightenment today from a video.
We can hope.
So, how would you, why do you think after all of these things and places and things that you've done, why are you where you're at today?
Well, in my own personal life experience, which is my greatest experience of life, I continue to enjoy being reinvented. I continue to enjoy evolving. Due to the simple fact that I have successfully centered my day and night around that process. I figure our own healing, our own evolution, our own enlightenment is really the best thing we can do in life. From that, we have so much more to be able to give to each other and to our families. So what I've done is synthesize the numerous experiences and studies for the last 35 years or so into common sense. I'm bringing a voice to what religion, energy medicine, meditation, and enlightenment is in a common sense, scientifically verifiable format.
Nice. I read an article on Facebook, actually yesterday, and it was about spiritual diseases.
Let me sit up.
Have you heard about spiritual diseases?
Spiritual diseases, sounds good.
So, when I read this article, I thought of you because I liked how you were just real. You're very human. You're very
Well, that's for sure.
one to admit I have flaws. I'm not perfect.
Gaping holes, holy Moses. Lord help me.
But I think that's what people need in the spiritual world and realm today, is to realize that we all can't be perfect, and we can still be funny, we can still eat some chocolate or, whatever. But we can still be here and be holy with ourselves and with God and with the universe, and I don't know. So if you want to kind of touch on that, what we're talking about spirituality is now becoming trendy and how we need to...
I call it look at my ass yoga.
Yes, see, isn't that funny?
Today we're going to be enlightened. I want you to get into your pose. Come down and downward dog. Now look, everybody's doing a great job. It's all wonderful hunky-dory. Yoga is so healthy. And the girls look so hot in the tights. Which, I agree. It's been really kind of funny, curious, interesting journey in that I come from this intelligent, wealthy family, and of course there's so much mental illness and there's so much disassociation and grandiosity around spiritual paths that there wasn't so much encouragement for what I'm doing with my life. And so my whole life I kind of got head tripped out by that, and I thought to myself, well, let's go to these centers and these yoga places and these kung fu places. I was just with one of the top kung fu guys in the world, lived there a month. Let's go to a Tibetan monastery, a Zen monastery, a yogic monastery. Let's go to the places in the community where they teach yoga and they talk about consciousness. And now in churches it's popular to speak about mindfulness meditation or interfaith movement. So I thought to myself, let me go to all these places. So from a young age I'm going to all these places to try to find some acceptance, quite frankly, and some help and some direction and sort of the typical lost spiritual wandering path you hear of. And what I found place after place was that they were businesses, including the churches. Flat businesses. To really have time to honor an individual's gifts and give grace for, work with an individual's diseases or distortions, I don't think you find so much time for that in the spiritual world, in the churches and the rest of it. Running a business. That's my opinion. So to come back to what you originally said, that it's wonderful that we can have flaws and that we also can have gifts. I'd like to take that a little further in terms of saying, you know, where do you have areas to grow in? I love to say to people, in what ways are you pitiful? And then I say, oh no, that's just me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be offensive. That's just me. I'm the only person that has distortions and diseases and pitiful areas and so forth. That's just me. No, the truth is that just by the very fact that we're aging, we all have this incredible inner need to find healing, to find education, to find resolution. And yet, if you think about how you run your daily life, me too, there's this objectified perception with the outside world. We were speaking about your husband with the job and getting things going and making things fly in the world to make more money and the responsibility of children and so forth. And, you know, our whole world has become so concerned with the outer movement of action that we forget where we have the power to act to begin with. So I would like to recommend as a suggestion for all of us that if you can work on the CPU, the insides of who you are, if you can take 1 minute now and then, some time in the morning, some time in the evening, think of me time, morning and evening. This is the kind of life that the greatest producers have. If you're a person that runs the largest business, your ability to center and to focus must be very healthy, or you can't do it. If you don't have 3 kids, but you have 10 kids, you had better understand how to reverse your attention and see what's going on inside. Coordinate your own mind, coordinate your own breath, coordinate your own pulse, coordinate your own hormones. Coordinate your own ability to be connected with a vast expanse of perception. Right now we're talking, we've got who knows watching here. We're talking with each other. And it's almost like there's a temptation that there's 3 sort of focuses. There's you and I, and then there's us in the video, and there's you in the video. And then there's our extended relationships and responsibilities. But life is so much bigger than that. There's the universe, there's the nature, there's the water, there's pure energy. The heart has a 40-foot field of magnetism that it puts out. The brain puts out magnetism. The magnetism that's in the air is produced from the lightning strikes that happen around the world and from the energy that comes from the center of the earth. There's fields of magnetism, is what I'm pointing at. Fields of psychic magnetism, if you can understand that. Perception that encapsulates this experience that we're having here today. So if we're just myopically focused on our issues and where we're at and what we need and what we want to avoid, remember the old 70s songs, What I Have and What I Lost, we're missing the big picture. The big picture is so perfect it's silly. When you look at the galaxies and Mother Nature, there is a larger, I hope I'm not overdoing it too much, but there's just such a larger picture. And when you have the experience of peace of mind, when you have kindness, when you have acceptance, that larger picture makes you feel supported in being able to vent or expose your distortion.
Mm-hmm. I like to call it God's eyes view.
God's eyes view.
Step outside of yourself and you look at yourself like from God, you know? And all of a sudden everything doesn't seem so important, you know, or so horrible anymore. Because it's just a little little thing compared to the whole universe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. The macro perspective, the God's eyes view, gives us new possibilities. You know, if we're worried about a job or we're worried about a circumstance, well, you release that worry, and according to science and according to sages, you start to have such more vast possibilities. That God's eyes view is just a wonderful way to look at it. And when we think about religion, there's two main voices in the voice of God as it exists in religion. One voice is grace, and the other voice is law. And usually one voice dominates in terms of how it's presented to the world. But the true voice of religious scriptures is grace period, law period. Which means when you feel unconditionally loved and supported and cared about as an individual, as is, when you get that, as a parent giving it to a child, when they get that, well, all of a sudden they want to wash the dishes. That's the law part of doing what's right. But we think the other way around. Let me get all my ducks in a row. Let me get this job and this thing. And Candice has a beautiful store here. Let me have everything in order. And that as the path. But what I love about Candice so much is that her heart is immaculate. And that's why we're here today. Because that heart comes through the store and comes through what she does. So grace or heart comes first. So can we begin to go in the direction of meditation in this interview? And maybe you would be curious about some of the experiences that I was able to have. And we could look at it also in the common sense scientific way. And what kind of possibilities can happen right here, right now, during this time in terms of making quantum shifts in our lives.
Cool. Yep. That's where I like to go. That's what it's about. So his books, your new books.
My new book's called Spirit Touch, The Masteries in Meditation. I've been on tour with Barnes & Noble this last year, signing books, looking
That
up the
teaches
people.
you how to go within and find that spot.
It's an
where you
advanced
feel-
book, unfortunately. I like to do advanced. I'm not enlightened enough to do simple. When I'm really enlightened, then I can do simple. But now I only have like a couple of little flicker glimmers of light peering through a very dark chasm. So it's not, all I can do is to talk about the advanced stages of meditation and to make sure that happens when you practice.
All right. Well,
What is that? What is
Sure.
the advanced stages of meditation? There's a change of atmosphere within and around the body.
okay.
The senses become lit up, so you see more light in the environment. Just think about your mood. If you're in a gloomy mood or working on some issue in body or mind, and then all of a sudden you get some great news. Well, right then the senses just light up. You smell, you taste, you see, everything is lit up. There's an air-like sensation felt within and around the body. Now all the traditions say these same things. We become heart-centered rather than intellectually centered. We allow our growing edges, let's call them, to become completely exposed, completely revealed for everyone to see. And then the agitations or the challenges are viewed as the solutions to the challenge. Because the agitations are like the agitator on the washing machine, they just break up the dirt. No longer are we objectifying reality. No longer are we saying, oh, I wanted this to happen today. Or I wanted this to happen in my past. Or I want this to happen in my future. There's nothing. There's complete happiness, really, in the final analysis. It's like that song. People are getting sick of that song. 'Cause I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Now, if you have that kind of attitude and that kind of mood, good luck at somebody stopping you.
Yep. Very true.
Bullies become good food.
Very true.
That's where the martial element comes in. See, I have a little answer for being a spiritual pushover. It's called a mirror. And the mirror can be delivered in lots of ways, and that's natural self-defense. That's real self-defense. So you do not become milquetoast. You do not become an amoeba in your brain. You become lit up in every aspect of who you are, spiritually, psychologically, sexually, communicatively. You develop the ability to have more outside-the-box perception. And that outside-the-box perception gives in-the-zone ability. Mm-hmm. That means you can take action into people's lives. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be so forceful or so wordy, maybe like I am. You can just do a little glance. And with that little glance, people can change. I had a lady with Lyme disease, one of the world's top 10 physicists, I'm not name dropping here, flew me out to see if I could help his wife who's dying of Lyme disease. She was milquetoast. She was thin, pale, very sickly, and very much in danger. 4 days the blood results are negative. I had a lady with MS. I was teaching the official trainers of the Olympic ski team, Boulder, Colorado, led by Wendy McClure, who's rated top 100 out of 11,000 trainers. So we had those trainers in there, and then we also had people come from the public for my workshop series. And I was giving attention to this lady who was really crippled up. I mean, heavy bang on the cane, limbs all twisted up. And I was giving her a lot of attention in the class, and there was maybe 40, 50 people in the class. And the leader came up to me and said, "You have to stop giving her so much. We hired you to learn a particular number of movements to do with the Qi and Qigong, you know." I think any name, any label, any religion now to me is just bullshit. You should be able to communicate effectively and clearly. All the meditation systems, all the energy systems, oh my God, they're all the exact same thing.
Amen. Amen.
It's so true.
Yes.
Every book, every monastery,
yes.
every place,
yes.
study, every freaking thing. And, you know, frankly, on a physical basis, I think science is going to be about the bottom line when it comes to a spiritual path. And things like math, because, you know, if your brain waves and your pulse are longer and more even, well, that facilitates creative genius. That's in the direction of creative genius. Every creative genius has that kind of experience before they come up with some great breakthrough. Einstein said, you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. You want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. Tesla, the greatest enlightened people and the greatest scientists in history, it all can become very, very simple. Anyway, back to our story. So, this lady's banging her kid. The lady told me, you have to stop giving so much time. I went to the front of the class. I said, you know, there's been a lot of talk about me giving, what's her name, Joanne, so much time. And if anybody doesn't know this is my class, you can leave. This isn't a business over here in Williamsland. You're not going to get my attention because you hand me a $20 bill. It doesn't work anymore. It used to work. I kind of liked it. But it just doesn't float my boat anymore. I'd rather make sure that the integrity of what I'm talking about is delivered. Anyhow, in 3 weeks, the lady's limb straightened out. Nice. You know, and it goes on and on and on. Just in the last month, lady was just humped over like this, and she thought it was 9 in the morning and it was 4 in the afternoon when I was with her on the phone. Anyhow, completely 180 degrees, whole new thing. So, the ability to create the results that we want, healing, finances, relationships, all come from this same place, this advanced meditation place. Advanced meditation is not how it's presented in the world and in most places. It's not a pansy-ass, fruitcake, Fruit Loopy, insane thing. There's a lot of grit to it, actually. You can study anything in the outside world, but to study yourself, that takes guts. Mm-hmm. But every day, what are you doing? You, the general public. What are you doing? What time do I get to work? How do I plan the thing? What's for dinner? It's all an outside world. If you can have enough faith to let down the defense mechanisms so there's not an outside world with whatever challenges that you're facing, you can begin to smell your own stink. And that's an advanced spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do that, you can't meditate. Everybody has a zillion opinions. That's fine. I appreciate everyone's opinion. But I'd like to suggest that true miracles, true phenomenal ability, things you couldn't possibly imagine maybe right now, will occur, I think, somehow for everyone eventually, when you have enough love, you have enough happiness.
Mm-hmm.
When you say, okay, Willems comes through, I believe he cares about me, at least now, I don't know about 5 minutes from now, at least right now, absolutely unconditionally, I don't care what you do. It's not about some legal document that says you do this and I like you. Do your homework, young man, young woman, and I'll like you. Listen to me and I'll like you. Don't listen to me and, well then, talk to the hand. No, that's not unconditional love. Unconditional love, grace, acceptance, kindness, when you can find that in front of somebody else, because it's got to be people. It's not going to be books and it's not really going to be nature, although it could be nature. But you really need to touch the psychology of somebody that understands this kind of thing. New Age world is popular now. You don't need a teacher. You're the guru. Well, good luck, because it has to have a personification. Every religion has something beautiful. That's the beauty of the Christian religion, in that there's this personification, you know, in Jesus. But you can't say Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Allah, Shiva, Ganesh, because it doesn't make any sense to anybody. But if you're the consummate researcher, as I know you are,
Mm-hmm.
you can find truth from a baby to a tree leaf to a twinkling star. When you look in somebody's eyes, are you looking at their software program and their bodysuit? Or are you looking at life that's coming through and animating that person? When you look into the eyes of somebody that has a lot of love, that has a lot of intuitive ability, like Candice, maybe me on a good day, you're free, because you don't see any judgment. Now, with my mind and Candice's mind, if you look long enough, you'll find plenty of judgment. But these other people, these sages and saint people, I'm this very sad kind of angst, I don't know what you call it, that I have to live with, that people can't see that. People don't know what that means, what that kind of a person is. It's funny, you know, the whole thing becomes wordless after a while. You really, right? You can't explain some things, you know, like that one thing I know, that there are real sages with miraculous abilities, by the way. And if you don't think that's true, please do a little research. Are you kidding me? Every disease you can think of has a list of people that had spontaneous remission. Every psychological and psychiatric disease, same thing. So do you want to keep on studying the external disease, or do you want to find out what's on the inside of these people that had extraordinary experiences?
Mm-hmm. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yeah. It'll shut me up.
So, and then I would just want to touch on this too, before we have to go, but you talk about this meditation. So we were talking about this. So I can do this. I can be there. I love to meditate. That's where I go. That's my safe spot. So when I haven't been safe, a lot of times in my life I've not been safe, I've not been happy, I've not been loved, whatever. So I found this spot to go to. I realize this now. But when we did our session the other day, he said, but you're like sunflower way up here. So I think the important part is people learn how to find that spot and then bring it to earth. Because we are a spirit. We are this just having a body. So it's easy for me to be out here.
That's right. It's easy to disassociate and to do it.
But let's be human too. Let's bring it and to teach people how to bring it down to earth, and how, like you said, to cause some ruckus sometimes, to cause some emotion. And that's where I think William and I are such on the same page, because I believe in the true healing also, that it's not a business. That is very important for people.
How could healing be a business?
Well, and
or life be a rat race? Are you all kidding me?
You have to, and you have to support your family, you have to feed your family, and it all takes time, I get that. it's difficult for me sometimes to charge for sessions, but like you said, with the teachers, I do believe in co-creation, is what I call it. So we have to learn from each other. But I learn from you, you learn from me. Somebody comes in for a session with me, I'm also learning and healing just from them. And it all is just an energy exchange. So we start looking at it like that too. But also, it needs to come from your heart and not from the bank. Totally get that.
You know, I'm convinced that you can get anything that you want. You can manifest anything you choose. To be like we are so often, flowers that are blooming. Hi, how are you? Great, nice to see you. How's the kids? Good? Good, great. See you next time. There's never a problem. We don't have a problem in our world. There's no problems here. Everything's lovely. Everything's wonderful. Takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of reality, as you're referring to be able to embody it. This is why I was referring to real sages and so forth, because they're able to have a body and not just go to that world. But this wonderful experience, everyone is searching for. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Great bite of food. To experience this without the psychology gives us access for a moment. But to be able to look at someone and be in that place. They don't have to know it, but to be in that space enough, it's going to shine through eventually. That's where the rubber meets the road in modern day spirituality. And there's a new kind of teaching coming on the scene to do with all this. Modern master kind of people. People that do continue to reverse the search, slow down, stop, and reverse the search, and find out what it is that they're being asked or challenged by in the physical world. Money, responsibilities, and being able to address that from that mountaintop perception. It's like two people in love. You remember you're first falling in love with the husband. There's no eyes that look out this way. Right now, you're all using your intellect and you're quantifying the speaker. If we're very, very close, a lot of trust, the eyes and the intellect don't go out. There's this experience of an internal acceptance that has so much space that whatever the person thinks, says, and does, you're relating to it in here. Now, most of the time, we're too afraid to let down our defense mechanisms to let people in. This is the world we live in. But I'm saying that no matter what you want to do, you're more powerful in allowing whatever issues that you have that are visible for the other individual to be revealed in the midst of your relationships, in the midst of your communications with other people. I'd like to, if I may, take us all on a little journey now.
Okay.
We're all going to Tahiti. So the breath changes 3 ways when you go into meditation. The breath is first deep, then the breath is long, then the breath begins to pause in epiphany moments. It's exactly the same as falling in love and becoming happy. It's exactly the same as creating a great business breakthrough. It's exactly the same as any creation, any project. Imagine you have a bunch of paperwork in front of you. And you say, oh my gosh, I have to sort out these numbers. I have to organize all these, do my books. So there's a psychological and even a physical deep breath that happens. So let's take a couple of deep breaths. Why are we doing this? Creative genius? Is that helpful for us? Scientists and sages do this kind of thing. The smartest people in the entire world. If you don't know it, do the research if you want to be convinced. Deep breathing. So this will naturally happen when you're processing emotionally, when you're readying yourself for some big project, when you're really saying, God, I'm going to clear my mind, I want to create some resolution here. And just through the nose now, and keep the deep breathing going, but go real slow too. Start to slow it down. Continue that breathing. You know, a master of any art will pause and access some invisible wellspring of power before they deliver. It's the ultimate human skill. You want to develop your emotional intelligence? Do you want to develop your IQ? Do you want to develop your health? This is the ultimate human skill. Now there's a little more to it. We're going to learn some more about it. Continue to lengthen your breath. Make it longer, calmer, finer, slower, and more even. Pay attention to your body. No longer being disassociated with just the brain, the intellect. The whole body is the brain. Feeling into our body, we ground our perceptions. I call this the phenomenon of drop and pop. As soon as you relax, the phone rings. You'll be amazed how many times that happens. See, you can observe it in your own life. The sound, you know, I'm talking about. Now we're starting right where we're meditating. It is uncanny how often that happens. Go ahead, be a mom with 3 kids and take a break for 5 minutes. Watch what happens. Longer, longer, longer. Right in the face of everyone and everything. Continue your relaxation. If you're not perfect, oh gosh darn, because that's going to have to be okay. You're still allowed to be receiving love, receiving grace, receiving healing, receiving help. You're allowed. If you can't see the light through your eyelids, then you're probably wandering in thought too much. The shades of silence are the true meanings of thoughts. Calm yourself and begin to listen to silence. Remember something that you can lock onto in your favorite list of things in life. Your favorite beliefs and your favorite people and your favorite places in nature, songs, quotes, all these things, scents, can bring you to the feeling. So get the idea to get the feeling. Choose to lock on to something you really believe in, that really causes you some type of a healing feeling in your body. Scientifically, that means brainwave coherence and heart rate variability, evenness, for starters. Concentrate on that source that you find in your list. Your list is your religion, the things given to you by life that works for you. paradigms. And through that list you find one thing now for meditation. Just allow it to feed you. There's a certain heat and magnetism that happens. Each time you find this inside yourself, you bathe your cells. You unearth hidden trauma and pain, and you transmute it. Each time it's like taking a dip in magic waters. Keep on, right in the face of all of your life, finding your way to a gentle pause. This is the highest place of meditation accomplishment. It means you're so fed, you're so nourished on the inside that there's a moment of suspended animation, the same that happens during an epiphany moment. It's the highest stage in meditation called samadhi. That one word samadhi is translated in all kinds of disciplines. To continue gaining more access, more energy, more supportive emotion, you'll find that you can relax deeper. A whole host of physical maladies will just disappear. Got to make this more important than you're doing, and your urgent need for this, that, or the other thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Nothing's more important than yourself, because nobody can benefit if you're not you, if you're not restored to yourself. You just can't lose, folks. Continue to allow it and allow yourself to come back. She's going on a long journey to come back from it and to integrate with, the world and the dualities and the present needs and challenges and all. You get better at the way into that moment, the experience of that moment, and then the applying of the energy and the insight that's gained to your relationships, to your business, to the people that you meet each day. Thanks for joining us.
Right.
And
Again. Till next time.